Welcome back, everybody, to another MLB The Show 25 video. Today, I'm going to talk about something we haven't touched on yet, and by golly, it's probably on me. We haven't talked about Team Affinity and getting some of the cards and taking a look at a lot of the cards along the way because, one, I kind of forget what cards are in there. I don't necessarily know what cards to go for necessarily, and today, I figure some of you might be in the same boat. The game just came out on Tuesday for everybody else. It's been out for about a week for early access, and I know we're seeing other traders sort of trickle out, come with the cards slowly. Maybe there's some diamonds in the rough and stuff that we might need just from a competitive standpoint. Now, really, I'm not one to play necessarily competitively. I'm going to get my favorite teams out of the way first and then kind of work that way. And if cards just come, cards just come. It's just the way things go. It's a long grind. It's a very long grind. So you're not going to get it done right away. But to get to 55, to get the card, the Jolt series card, let's see if it's that difficult. It probably isn't. You just got to be kind of diligent about it. And that's what we're going to do today. Let's talk about it, take a look at the cards, and see what we can see. So we try to go through all 30 and see if there's some diamonds in the rough. No pun intended. So starting off here on the good old screen here, the American League. I just got Bobby Grich earlier today. It took me a little bit longer probably than it should have. The way I did it, just so we're clear, I did the start missions. I did a couple of these quick impact missions just by kind of playing. This isn't too overly difficult. Again, working on other programs, you're probably going to get point stuff spattered in here a little bit easier, but these quick impact missions can help a lot. I also did the PXP for the two other cards, the Shanawell and the Mike Trout. I did those, got some of those as well. So right now, if we get 500 for Bobby Grich, we'll get another 10,000, and we can get some more stubs, which is also good. There's some season standout stuff. Again, you just get these by playing, which is pretty good because I don't know how necessarily long this will be here before season 2, but it could be a good minute. There's some optional clubhouse leader missions where these are. I'm assuming I don't even know what these are, but they get a lot. What does it say? Yeah, so 2,368 hits with Angels, basically any mode. You get 350,000 experience. If you hit 378 home runs, you get the same thing. You get 1,023 runs. You get some points. So there's some stuff here. If you do those clubhouse missions, you'll be at this point 350. I'll be done. I will have everything. So there's that. You can work your way up to just by playing the game, which I think is pretty swell. Now let's talk about the cards and some of the stuff in there because I forget. So with the Yankees, you start off with Andy Pettitte. I've been used to Andy Pettitte because there's so many cards. We won't necessarily be going through all of them. But these are the guys you're going to start off with and get some experience with. He's probably not competitively viable, but for grinding, he'll probably do just fine. There as well. The next one is Ben Rice. This card's got some pop. He can play first. He's a catcher. I think now he's a primary catcher. Again, decent power. I think that'll help a lot, especially early on. And plus, you can collect him and get some rewards for him now and later. For them, when you get all of them, you get this Babe Ruth. We know what Babe Ruth's going to be doing here. Swell card. He's got first base, left corner outfield eligibility. He also has the captain boost that hasn't been nerfed. Again, I'm not going to be too worried about the captains too much here. I just don't think they bring anything to the table, truthfully, at least as of yet, because I don't think theme teams, especially just right now, are necessarily going to fit. I say just use the card, but that's neither here nor there. Talking about the Orioles here. You start off with Brian Roberts. I've used him a little bit, not to any sort of success, mind you. And then if you work your way down, you get this Rafael Palmeiro. He doesn't have a lot of power for a veteran card, but he'll do the trick. And then Cal Ripken Jr. is their captain card. I'm not the greatest with Cal Ripken cards, but it's just worth sort of saying that he is there. Now we talk about the controversy, at least for me, the Red Sox. So first off, you'll get Joe Kelly. Throws pretty dang hard. He does have outliers, so he has some value, in my opinion, as a card that's viable, at least right now. Their gold is this Alex Verdugo. Very good contact. Decent power against righties. Not too much against left. But there's that. And now, the new guy who got his leg chopped off here, Clay Buchholz. Sinker, four-seam, circle change, cutter, curveball. He is going to be competitively viable, so that's part of it. And how they just completely and utterly nerfed him. I made a video talking about this, how I think this is outrageous. If you want to nerf a card, I think you should just lower it. They cut the legs off of this guy. Gone. He went from viability to no one's going to touch him. And that's bad. And I will keep reiterating that this is bad, and say anyone who says this was good is wrong and is totally wrong. And the fact that I'm seeing it from Sony SDS partners shows that they are out of touch, and so is the game company. So if somehow someone from them watches this, and let me tell you, I'm going to keep saying it, if this is how you correct and modify metas all year, as you did it last year, and I hated it last year, I'm going to keep hammering this thing, because this is outrageous, and you should not be punishing cards that get boost because you guys don't realize how viable it is, and cut them off at the legs. Because right now, if I'm a Red Sox fan and I want to use the Red Sox team, you cut them off at the legs. It's either 18 players or nothing. And like I said in the video, in this mini rant, and in the video, the Yankees have the same thing. So do the Dodgers. The only difference, the Red Sox are way cheaper to complete. So again, Clay Buchholz, competitively viable. Captain Boost, not worth it. And we're not even going to talk, again, this is why we're not talking about Captain Boost, because of stuff is, I can't recommend Captain. If they get too meta, they're just going to cut the legs off. Can't talk about it. Just throwing that out there. Slipping on down here to the Whites. The Rays. I'm sorry. Talk a little about the Rays. Their card, to start off rip, is Carlos Pena. Good power, kind of minimal contact. Again, for what we're trying to accomplish and just get like award, like points and stuff, it fits. It's not of trying to get a lot of these guys in there. Denard, pretty good as well for a gold catcher. Against lefties, he's got a decent stick. He can play first. He's probably gonna have some sort of viability somewhere, I would guess. But we'll kind of see how that goes and how that plays about. And I'm excited for this guy. He's on my team, my fantasy team, Junior Caminario. Righties, he's got 71, 91, decent power against lefties. Not as fast as I would like, but I think he's gonna swing really, really well. And the guy's only 21, so he's got some room to grow, and he's got some pop, at least in this low diamond. But I think he'll be a budget guy and a good one to boot. The last one in the AL East is the Blue Jays, who starts off with Vladimir Guerrero. Not the worst card. He is the third baseman in this one, no secondary. So enjoy that 45 fielding over that. I've been DHing him, but I didn't also have any problems. But I also haven't played him online. All right, and then the next one is starter Nate Pearson. He does not have outlier. Just so we're clear, 4 pitch mix, 4-seam slider, circle change, and a curve. Throws 97, decent enough. I think there's a lot of golds right now that'll play online. Nate is one of them. Especially get him a little boosty boost. He'll have the adjusted overall of a diamond, which would be cool. I kind of wish they would, like, for the cards that are borderline, like they get a gold emblem or a diamond emblem like around them as they like level up. But that's neither here nor there. And then their card is Roy Halladay. Cutter, sinker, curve, splitter, 4-seam. I haven't seen a whole lot of him. I haven't really been online. I think he'll be slightly viable. I just don't think people are gunning for these cards right out of the gate, which makes sense. They're trying to do everything else at this point. There was a lot dumped on us in the first week of the game being in early access, or the game being out for early access, which was last week. But I think he's one that's worth getting for a pitcher. He'll play pretty well. For the White Sox here. White Sox first up is going to be Adam Dunn. 100 power, 80 versus left contacts, a little lackluster. But the DH, he'll get the job done. This card right here, Angels letting Yoan Moncada. Kind of weird. Can't really hit lefties. Decent against lefties. Can play third base only. I think he'll probably play for a good couple weeks until things get a little more rounded. And the big hurt. The back end of this. He doesn't have 100 power, which is interesting for a big hurt card, but big power against lefties, okay against right. Good DH probably early on. And he can play first. I'm sure there'll be better Frank Thomases, but this isn't a bad one to start off with. Next up would be the Twinkies. The Twinkies here. You start off with this Torrey Hunter card. I've used him. I think I've had decent success with him offline. You said, I guess not. I thought I was. And then you get Brooks Lee for the gold. Again, relatively decent. Kind of weird. Can hit lefties. Can play third, short, and second. Could be worse, could be better. But again, collection purposes and kind of just using right now, I think will be fine. And they get this Jim Cott. Is this exciting? Sinker, curveball, slider, curve, sinker, slur, screwball. A lot of breaking pitches. This one might be fun, only because it's the wonkiest lefty pitching arsenal I think I've ever seen. There's no fastball. His fastball is a sinker. Everything's kind of slow. He might be kind of like Greg Maddux, which from the left side, which is rather fascinating to boot, especially on higher level difficulties here. The Detroit Tigers, they start off with Alan Trammell. Nothing too exciting for Alan Trammell here. Decent enough defense. Kind of has a pool noodle. The gold here is I hit push ground down the stairs. Castellanos banging against lefties, against righties. He is a right fielder here. I don't think he was playing right at this point. I think he might have been. He might have. Oh, it's 2019. Oh, he might have been. I thought he was third base. It's like, oh, that's wrong. And their big boy here at the end is Jackson Jobe. Jackson Jobe's got a fastball, cutter, circle change, sweeper, curveball. Doesn't have any quirks, but I think as a starter, could go. Can't really get any worse. Especially with the slower grind. I don't think we'll be seeing guys jump over that anytime soon. Royals. The Royals. They start you off with this nice, fun Bobby Witt. He's got a good swing. He's expensive, so it's good they're giving us a card that we can use at least for a little bit. And again, more BR. The next one up for the gold is Alex Gordon. Can hit righties. Man, against lefties. He can play third, and that's about it. So keep that one in mind that he's not a left fielder in this card. At least not yet. Some road unis. And then you get George Brett, who's got high contact. A lot of people love his swing. Doesn't have the greatest power, but he can play third. And like I said, a lot of people love George's swing. A lot of them. And then finally, we got Cleveland, the Guardians, who start off with this Grady Sizemore. Nothing against lefties, against righties. But again, we're not really banging and breaking on this. And then you got Tristan McKenzie, the 3-pitch starter here. He's probably going to be rough if you take him online with a 4-seam slider and a curveball. But he could be fine offline, I'm guessing. And when you get to here, get Andrew Miller. We all know how disgusting he is, that lefty out of the pen. 4-seam slider, sinker, disgusting. He's not going to have, he won't necessarily have anything exciting there, but he'll be good on his own. I don't think we need to worry about that. Out to the West. Houston, they gave us Yordan. Probably one of the best silver cards in the game. He's going to swing a giant stick. He'll carry you as a DH probably for a good solid couple weeks here. He is gross. 89, 88 power respectively, 78, 74 contact. Can't field worth a crap, but who cares if he's DHing? Their gold card is J.R. Richard. Everything's hard. 4-seam slider, cutter, 2-seam. Nothing. The slowest pitch is 92, and that's his slider. He does not also have outlier, but by golly, he's just going to throw guys by you. If your opponent can't hit velocity, this is the guy to use. One of my favorite unis, just saying. And then they get Greg Biggio, high contact, kind of low power, speed. He's a catcher. He can play center and left. Pretty decent, I would say, the catching option as of this point. If you don't like Dalton rushing or don't have any of the other diamonds, could be viable there. The Marlins here, they start you out with Randy, 4-seam slider, splitter, slurve. I think it'll be decently enough. At least offline. I wouldn't bring him online. Maybe in BR. That's one nice thing. A lot of BR cards here. Then Edgar Martinez, high contact, middling power. He'll play a little bit again. Maybe as a DH, he could be there. I think the bat plays a little okay. The contact might be enough to sort of make up for his I don't know, his lack of, I don't say lack of power, overwhelming power. And then you get Richie Sexson at the end of it. Richie Sexson, who's got giant power, whacks lefties. The righties is going to be kind of rough. His vision's very okay. I think he'll do okay. He's going to hit giant homers and put him in against lefty. Could be way worse. Rangers time. Adrian Beltre. You get the silver taste of what his Guyman can do with that sloping down pattern. I think he'll be fine. The defense will probably make up for it in a lot of ways. So if you like his swing, he's good. Evan Carter, I think sneaky okay. He can hit righties pretty well, lefties not so much, but he has the speed to make up for it. I think this card is probably a sneaky viable card. His fielding will carry him a little bit in center field. But again, I would probably just use him as a DH. And then Ian Kinsler's the card at the end of it. High contact, very underwhelming power, decent speed. I think the contact will carry, at least for now. I just wish that they had something that boosted power, because a lot of these cards just need that little extra oomph from back there. Looking at the A's here, the A's, you start you off with Dave Parker. He's got again, underwhelming, but again, might play a little bit better BR, but you got to use him to get some experience. Their gold is Zach Geloff, who's got 90, who is a righty killer. Nothing too much against lefties. Decent speed. He could fit probably most lineups for now. And then their end card is Matt Holliday. I love Matt Holliday swing. Good against righties, comparable against lefties for a left fielder. Can't really go wrong. And like I said, I really like Matt Holliday swing. And now we talked about the Angels, so we don't have to go over them again. Let's go to the National League. We'll start with the Phillies. They start you off with Cliff Lee. Could be worse at this point. Sinker, four-seam slurve, or circle change, cutter, knuckle curve. Followed into the spike from Rhys Hoskins, 74, 90, 185, 80. The spike card returns. He's got some pop. I think there's worse things they could give us here. And then Schwarbombs, who's going to have very high power, E-string contact. Balls are going to go a long way when he makes contact. Good DH, good left fielder. Not a shabby card. The Mets start you off with ancient boy Gil Hutchins here, who's 38. Good against lefties, not so great against righties. Can play is a first base only. I think a pinch hitter is a good role for him. Especially up the bench. Then you got Mike Piazza, pretty balanced stuff for power against lefties. He's one of my all-time favorite players. And I think getting these guys, I wish they just get them. And if you don't use them, you don't use them. They're great for collections. And then you get leather lefty, John Franco, screwball, sinker, slider, four-seam, circle change. Definitely probably going to be in a lot of people's pins if they get this far with him. The clutch is high. The hit per 9 is high. Can't go wrong with lefties. Lefties out of the pen. And then we got to talk about the Braves. The Braves start off with the flashback Freddie Freeman. Pretty decent hitting stats there. Clutch is pretty high. Could be a lot worse in the Freddie Freeman card. And then we get Warren Spahn as the gold. Four-seam curve, screwball, sinker, palm ball. High stamina. Again, could be a lot worse. And they give us Tom Glavine as the 86. Sinker, circle change, sweeper, slider, four-seam. Again, could be a lot worse. Lefty starter at this point. Let's go to the Nationals. This one I think a lot of people are going to like. So you get off Ryan Dozier, who's going to be a lefty, decent against righties. Pedro, a free Pedro, I think everyone likes. Four-seam, circle change, cutter, slider, curve. A lot of quirks. The card I think a lot of people are going to probably enjoy is James Wood. Good contact, can hit righties pretty well. Power is a little low against lefties, decent speed. He can play center field or left field pretty well, honestly. I think he's a card that a lot of people are going to probably enjoy. He's a little tall, so you might not like him, but I think he's some good value there. What about the Marlins, who have Luis Gonzalez here? Not too shabby. His last ride card. Michael Lowell, who's okay for the most part. And then they give us a Preston Wilson. Could be a little bit better. I know his moment on how people liked. Could be a little bit better, but I think he'll get a better card. He's got the fielding, which is probably carrying him a little bit too much, but could be worse. Brewers start off with Aaron Gagne, sneaky good reliever at this point. 5-pitch mix, four seams, Vulcan change, curve, slider, cutter. The gold here is this Mike Hammer, which is pretty stellar, I thought. 60, 78, 82, 89. Not too shabby for him, I think personally. He'll play, he's got to swing like butter. And then you get the closer Raleigh Fingers, sinker, slider, forkball, four-seamer. This card will probably play very good early on, especially out of the bullpen, because there's not a lot of bullpen options, it seems like, a lot of times. So that'll help. For the Cardinals, start you off with Bob Gibson, four-seam, slider, sinker, curve, changeup. Into the gold, which is a Carlos Beltran. It's going to take a lot of people probably a while to get his 99, so this will be a good holdover. Try him out, use his swing a little bit. He's, I think, viable-ish, but you never know. Especially if you're just grinding offline, throw him in there. Not really a problem. And then their card is a Jim Edmonds. Big power, decent contact. Can play center and left. Good fielding. Unsurprising for any Jimmy Edmonds card. The Cubs. So you off with starter Dennis Eckersley. Four-seam, slider, sinker, curve. Again, could be a lot worse. Use him to get some experience. Billy Williams. And if you don't know, Ernie Banks is gone, apparently, from the game. So we'll probably see a lot more Billy. Billy Williams, good power against righties, decent contact. He can play center field for you. Could be a lot worse. And then there is Alfonso Soriano. I haven't really used Alfonso Soriano cards a whole heck of a lot. The fielding's good. His bat's okay-ish. He's got speed. I think it'll play fine. It's just not like high on my list. Next up are the Reds here. The Reds starting off with Jerry Harrison Jr. Good contact, power. But again, we're kind of just looking for cards to use here. Then their goal is Ken Griffey. We all know what Ken Griffey do. His swing's like butter. I'm never going to complain about a free Ken Griffey Jr. card. Finally, they give you this Johnny Bench card. Pretty balanced hitter. Good defensively. His defense is a little bit better. Probably carrying him a little bit more. But I'm not a Johnny Bench guy. I've never really used a Johnny Bench card. That's probably a lot to do with it. Pittsburgh. This video's getting a little long-winded. I need a drink of water. Pittsburgh here. Thank you. Starting off here with Tyler Glasnow, who I personally love as a pitcher. 4-seam sinker, curve, and a change. Pretty decent. And he'll probably carry you a little bit, but not too much. Roberto Clemente here. Good contact, very low power. Good fielding. Can play a lot of positions. You know, pretty good to start. I would say start off. And then Kutch is the one they get. Balance hitter. Okay fielding. I think he'll play well, at least early on. A lot of people love his swing anyway. Last handful of teams. The Dodgers, who I got very passively. They start you off with Eric Davis. We all know what Eric Davis is. People love his swing. And then they give you this Eddie Murray card for a veteran or all-star card. And then they give you Max Muncy. He's going to have high power, middling contact, really good discipline. Clutch is lackluster. But I think he's just going to hit bombs. He's just going to smash balls far. That's his game. Next up is the Padres. They give you the Serrano Tatis Jr. Speedy. His swing's good enough to, I think, it'll be at least usable for a little bit. And then high contact, Tony Gwynn, low power. Speed. We all know how that goes. And they give you this Joe Musgrove. 4-seam curve, cutter, sweeper, circle, change. Their ace. Could be worse, could be better. I'm not going to complain about free pitchers, especially right now. For the Diamondbacks, they start us off with Ketel Marte. His swing's going to carry him. Not necessarily worry too much about his stats. Sean Green, another card who I think's got a very good swing. Pretty good player, in my opinion, that they give us here. And then Justin Martinez is a bullpen piece. Honestly, the Arizona Diamondbacks might have some of the better cards in this thing. Sinker, slider, splitter, 4-seam. Good card to throw in the pen. MIO. Last two, the Giants, the Gigantes. Start us off with Mike Tauchman, the Sockman. Good power against righties. That's about it. One-sided guy. And next up, we got Willie McCovey, who can destroy who destroys righties as a left-handed bat. And you're going to see a lot of them. He can be a sneaky guy in your lineup if you're on a budget, which I would assume hopefully most of you are. And then their big card here is Hank Thomas. Balanced hitter, good fielder. Could be worse as a third baseman. I wish he had a little bit more power, but again, beggars can't be choosers, I suppose. And last but not least, the Colorado Rockies, who too might have some fun cards here. They give us Jason Giambi, who's got a giant stick against righties. He can hit power against lefties. He'll be fun. I've heard great things about this Nolan Jones card, that it just rakes, which I'm fine with. And then they give us Todd Helton, who also just rakes. Pretty gross. Pretty gross. Now, ultimately, from top to bottom, are there some that I think we should prioritize? Truthfully, anything with the bullpen, I would say prioritize. But get your favorite team done. Get the teams that you like. Like me, I got the Angels done. Were they the best? Probably not. But I got them done. It's going to be a long grind. There's a lot to do here, but you got a lot of time as well to do it. There's not going away any soon. And for the record, I just want to touch on this because I know I heard things, people talking about this. I'm almost at level 26 out of like 45. I'm cruising, and we got 3 weeks left. I think the pacing is going to be fine. It's not like last time where it was just this long, endless thing. I think there's plenty of time, and I think most people are going to get this stuff pretty early along the way, just by playing and all that stuff, which is fine. They just give you for playing, and they give you a lot of XP in the programs. I think that's part of it too. There's so many programs, so I don't really necessarily see a giant issue with it, but we'll see how things sort of go along. So that's just all the Team Affinity stuff. Let me know if there's some cards you like or cards you don't like. We'll have some gameplay content here probably pretty soon here. I'm just so behind on some other stuff that I want to finish before doing it, but I wanted to touch on that because I haven't touched on it yet. So that being said, my name's Sex. I'll see you guys all in the next one.